welcome Lydia and Lana. Lydia and Lana are from doctors.com.au, an AI tech platform, which you'll hear about in a second. But Lydia and Lana have given some of their time today. We're very grateful to tell you a little bit about equity crowdfunding based on their experience. So before we dive into their top tips and advice, Lana, can you just give us a quick overview of what doctors.com.au is, what you do, and how you've used the funds from your capital raise last year with OnMarket?
Yeah, sure. So doctors.com.au, as you mentioned, is a health tech platform. So basically it reestablishes patients' healthcare routines online. So we're developing that platform. So we use artificial intelligence to remind patients to when their next appointments are due. So with the mission to prevent health conditions. With that funds that were raised, we're currently developing our app, which is to be released mid-year this year. And yeah, with that, working with our partners in just solidifying those messages and just driving patients to those health appointments, crucial health appointments, to prevent illness as much as possible. Lydia and I are both the co-founders of doctors.com.au and run basically all aspects of the business. However, we are outsourcing the development.
Terrific. Let's dive in. Let's start at the top. What do you think of equity crowdfunding as a capital raising method?
Well, equity crowdfunding is a bit different because it really forces you to sell your business to a big range of people. So for that, it's not only good for raising capital, but it's a great way to gain exposure for your business at the same time. So it's a positive that you don't get through other avenues of capital raising. It's not easy. It's not an easy mean. I think that sometimes people can just assume that it's easy. Oh yeah, I'll just go on there, put up this great idea and people will come. That's not the case. You really do need to drum up that attention and that uniqueness and really sell your product to gain that capital and get that crowd funding.
I guess that kind of ties into the second question. What do you wish you knew before raising capital?
Yeah, I guess I'm following on from Lana's is that there is a lot of back end work that needs to be done, a lot of paperwork, a lot of admin that we weren't aware of. So it can be time consuming. But again, it's just something that you need to get your head around and know in advance and really plan for it and make sure that you can reach the timelines that are set out, because there is a lot of work that's involved in the background.
Yeah.
For us in particular, because we were towards the lead up of Christmas, I think if I could tell myself something, would be keep that in mind as well. That these other dates that will affect our raise, because we kind of assumed we'd do it a bit quicker, and then we had that mad rush before the Christmas break.
Yeah. What advice would you give yourselves when you look to do your next raise, and also any other founder who's looking to raise capital?
To, I guess, always be thinking about why your business is different and what's a good selling point. Because I think as entrepreneurs and as owners, you kind of sometimes don't remember or don't see like a highlight. Like you might think, oh yeah, that's an amazing figure. But if you see it all the time, it's not amazing anymore. So really like focusing on the points and really drumming that up, because that at the end of the day is what gets people excited. So that's whole equity crowdfunding is, in lack of a better term, kind of revolves around FOMO in a way, that you need to really sell yourself and have these unique offerings. And I guess in saying that, with the planning is just making sure you have a record of all of these highlights, because they're the things that you can really drum up when during the campaign and throughout the campaign. So you've always got new things to share throughout, week on week.
Yeah, I think from OnMarket's perspective, we always, like yourselves, we have really excited and intelligent founders come, but just struggle to put that investor lens on. Instead of selling the product, trying to sell the business. I think that's actually a really, really solid piece of advice. Did you want to add anything, Lana?
That's right. You're not selling your product, you're selling your business. So it is a different way of thinking about it. And at the end of the day, it is selling. You're selling your business for people. People are still going to invest and give money for that. So you really need to make it like the appetite there. You need to have that appetite there for them. So yeah, put that lens on. What do they need to hear to pull their wallet out, get their card out and type those numbers in on the OnMarket platform for their money to be sent. So what do they need to hear to do that? Thinking from that perspective.
Yeah, that's a really good piece of advice. Kind of sound like you should work it on market, really. Okay, let's deep dive into your equity crowdfunding campaign. So I remember you came to OnMarket. I remember you came to OnMarket with an incredible idea and the basics of your business built. But we thought in order to generate the most attraction from the crowd and to build that hype and FOMO, it would be good to see a little bit more traction to build the business and build the awareness. And you did that in just 3 months. So my question to you is, how did you do that? How did you turn your business into something so attractive to investors that you attracted high net worth investors? What is your advice on that?
Well, just going back on that last comment, we did exactly that, what we're saying to do. And it's like, what does an investor need to see to invest money in our idea? And for us, it was seeing that our customers, so practices, would be willing and wanting to implement our products in their clinics. So we basically did that. So we went, hit the pavement, so to speak, went to clinics, sold our proposition, and we got contracts. We got people saying, yes, we will use your products. So basically checking that box.
Yeah, and like Lana, I was just going to add to that, because we also were pre-revenue. So we don't have the product yet, but we didn't at the time. So it's a bit hard to sell something that's not ready. So as entrepreneurs as well, you need to be able to be a problem solver and say, well, how am I going to sell this if I don't sell it to an investor to say the doctors will want to buy this if I don't have that cemented yet because I don't have the product. So the problem solving is that we can do a contract to say when it's ready, you can take it up. So I think that part of that traction is being able to problem solve and try and think of things in a way of how can I get around this problem to show the value, because as startups, a lot of the time you don't have the product completed yet, or you don't have it at all. So you need to think of ways to show the value and show why your customers will take up your product once you have it. Because it is a bit interesting with the crowdfunding, because you need the money to build it, or you need the money to create it. So you need to be able to show, if you do have the money, we will be able to, solve that problem or get that revenue.
I think something else that you did really, really well, just tying in with that pre-revenue, how can I make doctors.com.au look attractive? I think the partnership with the Cancer Council was a huge benefit to your raise and to your company, because it validated the market need and the uptake of your product. Do you mind just giving a brief explanation or just a bit of advice on how you formed that partnership with such a credible, well-known name?
Yeah. Again, the problem solving, putting your thinking cap on, thinking about your customers and who could potentially be your stakeholders, who has the same shared vision as you, as well as your business, because that's very important. If you've got the same visions as these companies, and you've got the same goal, then chances are that they will want to work with you if you're providing something to the public that's going to do something to help their goal. So in our case, it's save lives, prevent cancer. So it was not easy is not the right word, but it made it easier because we did have the same overarching goal. But the advice there is to keep calling. Don't be too pestering, but calling till you at least know who you need to talk to, because half of the time it's not speaking to the right person because of these organizations are so large. So that's half the battle. But once you do speak to that person, again, if you've got the same goals, same invested interest, and you've got something that they want to hear, they're going to want to hear it. So that's my advice with that.
How do you navigate the problem solving when you're actually in the depths and trenches of an equity crowdfunding raise? How do you step away from the emotion, which it is a roller coaster, the emotional roller coaster of an equity crowdfunding raise, and look at maybe you haven't got the number of investors you're looking for, or struggling to reach a certain audience. How did you kind of navigate that stress or navigate that situation while still focusing on the Ecf Raise?
Yeah, I think for us, we always, I think it's in our nature to always have another option, like a backup option, I guess.
Like
We
a
can call it
contingency
that.
plan.
Yeah, pretty much. So if we don't have X amount of investors, okay, well, what does that mean? What does that mean for us? What's our next option? So I guess having that fallback, it kind of takes away that stress because you have a plan, even if you're not executing on, you're not really doing anything about it. Even just having thought about it, when that does happen, you won't feel stressed about it. It's like, okay, pick yourself up. All right, I kind of at least know the next step forward. It might not be 10 steps, but it might be one step leading you that way. So that will take away that stress if that scenario happens.
Yeah, that's right. The forward thinking and the planning for all the different scenarios in advance. Because during the crowdfunding campaign, it is, for a couple of weeks, but it goes really fast. And if you need to, do a social media campaign amidst revenue raising, you would need to have a plan for that. So you would need to have, the contacts, know what messages you're going to want to send, what assets you have. So that forward thinking really takes the stress off during that time. 100%.
Yeah. I think something that you did really well was the use of PR. So that forward thinking really did come into play because before you even went publicly live, before you opened your equity crowdfunding raise to investors, you actually had your doctors.com.au in the news and you had done your outreach to increase the traffic to your page. So how valuable did you find PR? Do you think that you've received a good ROI or what came out of it and where were you featured?
Yeah, well, we were featured across every large publication across the country by News Corp. So Herald Sun, Courier Mail, all of the large newspaper publications and online. But the real asset that came out of that for us was being able to push that further online during the campaign. So having the actual story as an asset to push during, if that makes sense. So that was actually the most, return that we got from it.
Yeah, and it also made our offering more exciting to potential investors as well.
That's right. Yeah. So using that as an asset in our social media campaigns and online to say, we've been featured in the Herald Sun. So that was a really big win for us.
Yeah. Do you think it made an impact on your raise?
Yeah, for sure. I think it also brings credibility to your story because if it's being picked up by the media, then it's something that people want to hear about. And if people want to hear about it, people will want to use it. If people want to use it, then it's a business worth investing in.
I guess that's where, from your initial comment about the whole brand awareness that you get from your crowdfunding campaign, and that's really where the PR ties into. Okay, terrific. Well, is there anything you want to say to all of these founders that are looking to potentially raise capital?
It is a journey and it is an exciting one. There is highs and lows, but those highs are really exciting because, it's the tool or the means to get your business to the next stage. So enjoy it and good luck.
Yeah, again, good luck. I think one of the most valuable things that I learned from it was the planning and the forward thinking. But it is very exciting. It's an exciting thing to go through. Those highs, when you get an investor making a bid, having an interest in your business, registering in that expression of interest phase at the initial part of the campaign. It is very exciting and it's something that kind of gives you a bit of a thrill, and I'm actually looking forward to doing it again.
Hey, well, thank you very much for your time. Really appreciate it, and look forward to seeing what's next for doctors.com.au.
Thank you.